Hello, I am Nathan, and this is Thunder Up Talk. Today, I wanted to talk about a guy that I just don't think gets enough praise. I don't think we talk about him enough as fans. I don't think we talk about him. I don't think the media talks enough about him. And that guy is Sam Presti. So today, I'm going to talk about 5 reasons why I think he's the best GM in the NBA. I did a short previously about this, but I didn't really get to talk about all the things I wanted to talk about. So to me, Sam Presti is probably the fourth most important, if you want to call it, asset to the Thunder organization, in my opinion. Now, you can't win a championship without guys like Shea, Jalen Williams, and Chet. So to me, those are by far the three most important guys to the team because they're actually playing on the court, making the decisions, making the shots, passes, rebounds to bring a championship to the Thunder. However, right after that, though, I do think Sam is the most important after the big three, even above Coach Mark Daignault. And the reason why I think that is because I do think there are other coaches out there who could have won a championship with this team. Not to take anything away at all from Coach Daignault, but I do think there are a couple of guys who still could have won a championship, won it this year with this current team. And then some people may say ownership should be held higher than Sam Presti as far as the most important asset, and I completely get that. I mean, they literally own the team. But I would say this, there would be ownership groups that are as good as what we have, and they're great. Clay Bennett and all those guys, they let Sam and all his people do what they need to do, and it just trickles on down throughout the organization. But if Clay Bennett gave this much room to work with other GMs, I don't know that it necessarily turns into a championship or this well-run over an organization. So ownership is great, and they allow the GM, Sam Presti, and everyone to do their jobs. But even with that, I don't know that we get the same results without Sam Presti. So with that being said, I just wanted to kind of talk about why I think he is so important and why he's not talked about nearly enough. So I'll go into my top 5 reasons why I think he should be considered the best GM in the entire NBA. The first thing I wrote down is culture and stability. He's just brought the steadiness to a new team and organization here in Oklahoma City, and we're one of the most respected teams and organizations in the NBA and in the entire sports scene. I think that was most evident when Kevin Durant left us high and dry. I mean, just for nothing. Most teams in the NBA, when something like that happens, when their top superstar leaves, even if there's a second one, they tend to just fall apart pretty quickly. And even after that, I felt like Sam did a really good job of keeping the Thunder relevant. So he allowed Russell to he signed him back. Russell Westbrook allowed him to have that awesome MVP type season, which was so big, and then went out and did something crazy that no one really thought would happen. It caught everyone off guard. No one thought it was really all that smart because they didn't think by going out and getting Paul George that we'd be able to keep him or that he would even resign. And looking back on it now, it just is, I mean, it was a big gamble and a big risk, but it all worked out. So my number one reason is just the stability and the culture that Sam has created. Even like from the top down, all players seem to really love him, have nothing but respect for him. Even when they're being traded, it feels like sometimes Sam goes out of his way to really get guys where they want to be. So that is something that not all GMs do in the NBA. Number 2, this is a pretty easy one. So he drafted back to back Hall of Famers. So just that alone is insane. He drafted Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. Out of those three, Kevin Durant was, in my opinion, the only surefire. Kind of looking back on it, there were questions about Russell Westbrook and James Harden being drafted where they were. Now we look back now and think it's obvious, but it definitely wasn't. And to be able to draft that kind of talent 3 years in a row is absolutely insane. To piggyback onto that idea is number three. So the only way I feel like he can one up himself with that is he potentially drafted two all-stars in the same draft, and who knows, that might eventually turn into two other Hall of Famers that he drafted in the same draft in Chet at number 2 and Jalen Williams at number 12. That's something to keep an eye on for Sam's resume. But if they become Hall of Famers, which I don't think is too far out of the possibilities, it's just insane to think about that he did that. Chet was pretty obvious, but again, no one thought that Jalen Williams should have been drafted quite that high. He was moving up in the draft boards, and certainly no one thought he would be this good already. So that I'll move on to number 4. So Sam Presti was extremely opportunistic, and yeah, this has to be on his resume and talked about for sure. It's the Shea trade, and I think a lot of people will kind of talk about maybe thinking that it was just complete luck. I see it as Sam seeing the writing on the wall, maybe a year early or just perfectly on time. Do I think he knew that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be a top 2 player in the NBA? No, I don't think that he necessarily saw that. But I think he saw that he could be great, and I think that he saw that he should use the leverage that he had, aka the Clippers really want Paul George because that means they get Kawhi Leonard. And that sounds easy, but I don't know that all GMs for sure would use that leverage to its highest, to get the haul that Sam Presti eventually got, which included all these draft picks, which in turn got us Jalen Williams at 12. So, it's always so easy to look back on these deals and be like, oh yeah, that was so easy to do. But I think the timing aspect of it was perfect because in that same year, he traded Russell Westbrook, and I don't think that was necessarily the easiest thing to do, but it was best for the franchise and got us started in another direction. And then number 5, this is the most simple, but most important. He finally brought a championship to OKC. And I say finally because we got so close so many times. But again, this organization is still so young in the history of the NBA, in the history of sports. But he did. He got us a championship, and he did that by, again, all of these things, kind of a combination of all this put together. But he did some really savvy things as well that just made the perfect team. He added veterans like Caruso in a trade, getting rid of Giddey, which I think was Giddey was a great talent, but that move was ideal for this team. We do not get past Denver without Alex Caruso. We don't win a championship. I don't know that we don't win a championship without Alex Caruso. If Josh Giddey is on this team instead of Alex Caruso, I don't think we win it this year. And then he went and got Hartenstein, which is the biggest free agent signing in Thunder history. And the reason why I think that was so significant, obviously, is he talked about passing, and that was like the word that he used, kind of the theme he used after we lost to the Mavs. And then he also brought physicality with the rebounding and defense, Hartenstein did. And that was the previous year or two, that was the word that Presti harped on, physicality. And it's because there's a young team who needed to learn how to play with physicality. And he got both of those. He got passing and physicality in that one signing. And of course, Caruso brought both physicality and passing too to the team. So I just think Sam is incredible. I love his mind. I love the way he thinks. He has somehow done an incredible job of having a really good team now while still thinking about the future. And I would just love to see his office, the way he operates. I'd love to see their short-term plans. I'm sure they have like some crazy 10-year outline of how they hope things go. But anyways, I just think that's incredible. So I think he's awesome and an awesome asset to the Thunder organization. And I hope we have him for another 20 or 30 years. I hope he's a lifer, kind of like the GM in San Antonio. So with that, I just wanted to talk about Sam Presti. Don't think he gets talked about nearly enough. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I forgot anything. And of course, like, comment, subscribe. I've got 23 subscribers. I'm on my Jordan number. I need 24, and this is why. 24 was my jersey number. It was Kobe's jersey number, my favorite player growing up. And it's just my favorite number now. So somebody get that number 24. I'd greatly appreciate it. With that, I will talk to you later, and Thunder up.